Virginia Senator Tim Kaine formally accepted the Democratic vice presidential nomination tonight.
And President Obama just wrapped up the big speech at the night at the Democratic National Convention, claiming Hillary Clinton is ready to lead while portraying Donald Trump as unfit to serve.
And delegates sprung to their feet when Hillary made a surprise visit to the stage tonight, moments after Obama finished his speech. The two embraced to thunderous applause from delegates.
Clinton did not speak, saving her remarks for tomorrow when she'll formally accept the nomination in a live address to the nation. KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan is live in Philadelphia with highlights from the big night.
Dave, President Obama really fired up the crowd there, we're told.
Well, let me tell you, Jeff, this place was rocking so hard it felt like the building was going to just take off and roll down the street a couple of times. It was really on fire. And President Obama stole the show here. The audience here, the crowd, really cheering him on. For much of his speech, they were on their feet and couldn't stop clapping. It was a night full of headline speakers, but in many respects, this was President Obama's night at the Democratic Convention. And the crowd roared its approval as the president made the case for Hillary Clinton, who he said will carry on his legacy, and against Donald Trump, who he said would destroy health care, environmental progress, and immigration reform.
And that's why I can say with confidence, there has never been a man or a woman, not me, not Bill, nobody, more qualified than Hillary Clinton to serve as President of the United States of America. And now I'm ready to pass the baton and do my part as a private citizen. So this year, in this election, I'm asking you to join me to reject cynicism and reject fear, and to summon what is best in us to elect Hillary Clinton as the next President of the United States.
One of the most excited delegates was Bobby Singh Allen, a Clinton delegate from the Sacramento area.
This is diversity. This is America right here. That man is fear-mongering and hate and bigotry.
Eager to show he's ready for prime time, Hillary Clinton's running mate, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, warmed to the task, portraying Donald Trump as shallow and uninformed on the most important issues affecting America.
We're going to destroy ISIS so fast, believe me. There's nothing suspicious in my tax returns, believe me.
And Kaine declared Clinton is ready to take her place on the list of presidential history and achievements.
Bill built a bridge into the 21st century, and Barack gave us hope. And now Hillary is ready. She's ready to fight. She's ready to win, and she is ready to lead.
The Reverend Jesse Jackson told me he believes Donald Trump is now making mistakes that will make him beatable in November.
Clearly, Donald Trump appears to be out of control. His playing footsie with Putin is like an insult to Americans. Even those who are with him are ashamed of that. Attacking Muslims with whom there are more Muslims than Americans. Picking a fight with Mexico, with whom we share 2,000 miles of border. He sees the world through a keyhole and not through a door. It's rather reckless.
Vice President Joe Biden got into the act as well, firing away at the notion that Donald Trump would be the salvation for working-class Americans.
A man who seeks to sow division in America for his own gain and disorder around the world. A man who confuses bluster with strength. We simply cannot let that happen as Americans, period.
Well, tomorrow night, of course, will be Hillary Clinton's night, and an important night it will be. Millions of Americans will be watching her speak live for the first time. Let's go back to you guys.
Yeah, and Dave, with that in mind, we had a big speech tonight, not only from the president, but from the vice president as well. So what does Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have to do tomorrow night to top that?
Wow. Well, first of all, let me tell you, she's got a tough act to follow in front of this crowd, because it will be hard to top what President Obama got from the audience here tonight. But what Hillary Clinton has to do is a couple of things. First of all, she has to come across as credible and honorable, because trustworthiness is not one of her strong suits in terms of what the polls are showing. And then in addition to that, she has to both attract the supporters of Bernie Sanders, who tend to be more more liberal, more progressive. And at the same time, she needs to bring in independent, moderate voters who maybe haven't decided yet which way they're going to go. So she'll have it's a tough job for her tomorrow night. And like I say, she follows a tough act. So it's not going to be easy to top what happened here tonight. This felt like the closing night of a convention, rather than the third of 4 nights.
Yeah,
so Jeff and Lena, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
All right, Dave, thank you. Dave Bryan, live for us in Philadelphia.